Welcome to this video tutorial on the topic of CEREC Primemill. In this video, we will guide you through the submenu Settings in the touch interface and will demonstrate the calibration process. We are currently on the Start page of our touch interface. Tap Settings at the lower edge of the screen. Here, you will find the machine name. You can change this by tapping the little arrow to the right. Below that, you can change the theme of the touch interface. The choices available are light and dark. The language, region, date, and time can be set. And below that, you can change the unit temperature from Celsius to Fahrenheit. Under Network Settings, you can find the IP address of your CEREC Primemill, among other things. By scrolling down, you can access more functions and information. You can see the firmware version number and check whether CEREC Primemill has detected the suction. Below that, you can find the Manage Water Tanks option. If several water tanks are available, for example, one for processing blocks and another one for the device's cleaning process, the respective tank can be saved under the appropriate name. This way, CEREC Primemill will recognize it. The identification of the water tank is performed by an RFID chip that is integrated into the tank. Next, we go to the calibration process. You can already see here when the device was last calibrated. CEREC Primemill is already calibrated when it leaves the factory, and no further calibration is needed before putting it into operation. In case of poor manufacturing results, a calibration should be performed. To do this, the device must already have been running for 15 minutes, thus giving it a chance to reach room temperature. To start the process, we tap the little arrow to the right. Once you tap Start, the motors and the block axis will move into position. Next, scan the data matrix code of the calibration body. For demonstration purposes, we will watch a short video sequence about this. When the calibration body has been detected, you will be asked to insert it. Next, we will watch another short video sequence about this. Make sure that the adapter for smaller blocks has been removed from the block axis and set the calibration body in its final position. The screw is fastened with the appropriate torque wrench. Then we close the chamber and the motors move to a position from where the calibration pins can be inserted. We scan one of the calibration pins, which, just like all the other instruments, also has an RFID chip and is color-coded. We tighten it with the torque wrench with a triangular connection with a lower torque, as shown here. Then we close the chamber once again, and the motors move to the next position to fasten the opposing pin. The process here is identical to the previous one. We close the chamber and the calibration process for the first pair of motors begins. The first calibration run lasts about 5 minutes and should not be interrupted. When the calibration process for the first pair of motors is completed, the touch interface will prompt you to remove the pins so that they can then be screwed into the next pair of motors. The process here is identical to the one already demonstrated. After the switch has taken place and the door has been closed, the second calibration process starts automatically. Just like with the first one, this calibration process should not be interrupted, since otherwise both calibrations will be discarded. When done, remove the calibration pins and the calibration body, and your CEREC Primemill will be ready for use again. Finally, we go back to the overview of settings and will review the penultimate item. In case you process blocks without a data matrix code in the CEREC Primemill, you can disable the scanner function for a data matrix code here. As a result, you select the block manually directly from the stored database. In the case of zirconium oxide blocks, the shrinkage factor needs to be entered manually. The last option of the Settings menu is exclusively for your service technician. Thank you very much for your attention. We would like to wish you every success when working with CEREC Primemill.